Yes, we have the presentation of exercises 11 to 12, and Nicholas group will be starting us off today. So let's get started with that, Nicholas. So who's reading for you?
Shamal, sorry, Um, enter the data shown in figure 7.5a. Select the range B1, C9. Locate the chart wizard on the Insert tab. View the chart types and choose the column chart. Once your chart has been created, you can modify the design of the chart, including various layout options and changing the text and the color of the chart. Choose the layout that will add title axis to the chart. Edit the horizontal axis to type of plan and the vertical axis to investment.
You can repeat the part. I got put on the access title.
Investment. Now give the chart the title Individual Investments. Right click in the corner of your chart and select Move Chart. Select New Sheet and click OK. After spending money for lunch over a week, you wish to use the chart to track the trend of spending. Using the set of data below, create a line chart to show this trend. Remember that formatting data is useful even
I
when
think we got
creating.
stopped here. Yeah, stop at 49. Stop at 12. So we're supposed to stop there, right? At 12?
Yes, you're supposed to stop there. Was waiting to see on when Shamal would realize that. Um, all right. Go back to the chart, Nicholas. So I hope everyone see how easy it is to create a chart, to add your chart title, to add your axis title, and so on. And yes, that's exactly what I wanted you to show. So we can design the color, the background, and so on. So if you click on the go back to that same chart style, right to the top, where you are at the bar at the top, chart styles, yeah. To the right, you're gonna see a drop down arrow. All the way to the right, yeah, good. And we have more options there also that we can use. And we have the color option to the left, so you can design your charts as you like. All right, so that's it for your presentation. The next group, Chazelle, exercise 13.
Shazai, ready?
Yeah.
All
All right.
right, just give me a second.
Well,
Hold
yeah.
on. I'll tell you when to start. I just gotta send this thing first. First, two, two, return, something check, period, two, number of balls present, 12 balls present, numbers present, numbers absent, true. Good, you may begin.
Um, Type the following data in the spreadsheet and save the sheet with monitoring spending. But you already have that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Format the values for currency with no decimal places.
Next question.
You didn't complete question two.
Create a line chart.
So how you mean?
Daniel, read it back for her.
Format the values for currency with no decimal places.
Which parts of the question did she miss? And one of you, which part of the question she missed? Or the
Um,
three of you? It's three of you presenting.
sure, they're not. See, because I was reading the thing.
But by looking at the question, what part did she miss?
Currency?
Good. She was supposed to format it as currency. That's what she just did. And then have no decimal places. Good. That's what you're supposed to do.
Create
So,
a line chart to show the total payments for each language.
as you're creating that, the formatting that you just did, continue you doing. The formatting that you just did is similar to what you're doing in your SBA. Very good. Um,
For,
Continue.
format the chart to include axis titles.
Next question, Billy.
Okay. I can't really see when you finish because I'm reading the things. You have to tell me when you finish.
All right, good.
Name the name the horizontal axis is day.
Next question.
Name the vertical axis as amount.
Yeah, we'll do that already. Next one.
Okay. Name the main title as amount spent on lunch.
Move the chart to a new sheet.
Next question.
Change the type of chart to a pie chart. Explain which type of chart is more appropriate for this type of data. Save the spreadsheet again. So the line chart is more appropriate for the data than the pie chart.
And why is that?
Because on the line chart, you can
Sir, because the line chart shows trends and changes of values, while the pie chart shows relationship among parts of a whole. That's why the line chart would be better.
You just read back the description between it for the two. In your opinion, if you look at it, why would one, in your own words, why would one be better over the other in that situation? Because remember, you're supposed to know in different situations why you would use different um, types of charts. So in that situation now, why would you use a pie chart or why would you use a line graph? Why?
sir because it gives like clear visual visualization of the amount spent.
Doesn't all the charts do that? So like if we go back to the charts, if we go back to the chart, Giselle, go back to sheet one and create two charts. Create a line chart and then a pie. Good. So in this case here, if you look at the two charts, the line and the pie, what can you say is the difference between the two? Why would you use a line over a pie, or why would you use a pie over a line? That's the question.
Sir, because the pie chart is showing values.
It's not showing values. So,
Yes, sir. It's like how in the line chart it has the numbers at the side here, but the
uh-huh,
pie chart you're not seeing that.
unless you hover over it. There is the options to put in the values that you haven't put it in. Um, what I'm trying to get at is that you guys are supposed in the different situations what chart you would make use of. Now, the line graph or the line chart is going to show you a trend that over this week, this is a trend that was happening. Monday we start off high, then Tuesday we went down low, and then on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday we basically went up again. We were slowly going up. So we're seeing a trend there. So if you want to see trends, then you would make use of a line graph. But the pie chart now is going to show you the comparison between all of the days. So which days is the largest, which days is the smallest. So you're just being able now to compare the days. So it all depends on the data that you're presenting and how you want it to be presented, how you wanted it to be perceived by a person. All right. Um, that's it for your presentation. Exercise 14 was supposed to be Alia and Janesi, but I'm not seeing Alia. And the next one is supposed to be Sian and Michaela, but I'm not seeing Sian. But Janesi and Michaela is here, and both of them are in the same group. So the two of them will present. And Sian and Alia will present some other day. So Michaela and Janesi.
Sir,
Uh-huh.
we supposed to present exercise 14.
Really?
Jasmine, Sarah, yes, really,
Really?
yes.
Is that true, class? Like I can't remember that.
Yes, sir.
Well, Janesi, you got saved. You should thank them after class, buy them some chocolate or something. So who going first? Exercise 14.
Yes, sir.
So one of you can do 14, one pair do 14, and the next pair do 15 and 16. Oh, let's see.
We doing 14.
Yeah, do 14. We're gonna see what happens.
All right. Um, Jasmine. Uh, so basically, there was create a chart using the steps as data below. The chart should compare the speech chart for teaching various foreign languages. And number one was type the following data in a spreadsheet, starting A1 and save it as language classes. She already did that. So create a bar or column chart to show the fees for each language class. Format the chart to include access titles. Name the horizontal axis as language. Name the vertical axis as dollar amount. Name the main title as fees for each language class. Move the chart to a new sheet.
So before you do that, it's like you guys aren't reading what you're doing. The option is right there, new sheet. And yet you're going, Chazelle did the same thing. She went to create a new sheet. You're doing the same thing. You go and create a new sheet. And the option is right there. Select new sheet and you select OK. Even though what you were doing otherwise was correct, but the option is right there. Continue.
Save the spreadsheet again.
Alright, so exercise 15. Oh, it's all of you? I thought it was four of you. It's only three of you. So is Sarah here? Sarah is not here.
No, sir.
Um, let's see. Michaela and Janacy, can the two of you present for us exercise 15? Is Janacy even here? Janacy, I saw Janacy enter and Janacy is not here. So Michaela is all alone.
Still present, sir.
Um, none of your partners are even here, so Sian, Alia, and Janacy. Alright, let's see who else we have that can present. Jeremiah. Jeremiah is not here again. Kafensi. Whose group is Kafensi in? Kafensi, Danielle, and Jeremiah. None of them are here again. Shamal. Okay, Shamal was presented with Nicholas. Sian is not here. Brian and it was Brian and who? Brian and Latrell presented. Tristan doesn't come to Saints anymore. Alright, alright, good. Michaela, you can present. But we need someone to do the other exercise. If anyone is willing to do 16, um, and you're willing to volunteer yourself, please indicate. Michaela, you can do 15. I'll read for you.
So just 15, sir?
Yeah, we'll see if anyone volunteers. Anybody willing to volunteer for 16? No one willing enough to volunteer? Or should I call up here? I feel like calling up here to present for 16. Yeah, Michaela, you can present for 15.
Sir, is it showing?
No, we're not seeing anything. You're not presenting. So exercise 16 will be done by Durrani and Khadijah. So get yourselves ready for that one. Exercise 16. Yes, we can see it now. You can maximize the presentation if you want. I'll the spreadsheet. I'll read it for you. So this exercise expands on exercise 14 to compare the number of payments needed for each language. Use the same data in exercise 14. You're going to create a bar or column chart to show the number of payments for each class, for each language class. So the payments for each language class. You're creating a bar or column chart for that. The class and the payment.
Sorry, sir, I have something wrong with my mouse.
Yeah, no problem. What you can do, since your mouse has issue, you can use the keys on the keyboard. Anyway, continue what you're doing. I guess that'll need practice for you to get accustomed to that. Good. So format the chart to include access titles.
Pardon, sir?
Format the chart to include access titles. Good. So your X and Y. So the horizontal axis is going to be language. language, and the vertical is going to be number of payments. Number of payments. Good. And then your title is going to be comparison of payments. Comparison of payments. For language classes. Language classes. Good. So one thing to note, fix your table so that the data shows neatly. Fix your chart. One thing to note with this exercise and your SBA is that everyone was supposed to create a chart title, and you were supposed to give an appropriate title. Now your chart title needs to reflect on what data is inside of your chart, and that is how your chart is going to have an appropriate title. So notice it has payments and it has language. So the chart title is comparison of payments for the language classes. So it's describing what are the parts of the chart basically. Alright, you can stop there, Michaela, before anything else happens. Thank you for your presentation. So Khadija and Durrani, are the two of you ready?
Yes, sir.
Whenever you're ready. Well, not whenever. As soon as possible would be better. I'm not seeing anyone presented. Good. So that means Durrani's reading. So you guys can go ahead.
Okay. First, type in the heading in total in D1, in cell D1. Use a formula in D2 to calculate the total cost for Chinese classes. You should have a total payment of $1,500 for Chinese. Copy the formula from cell B2 to the remaining rows for each language. Create a bar or column chart to show the total payments for each language class. Remember to select non-contiguous data. Select the first column of text data, then hold the Control key while selecting the next column of data.
So that's like for each individual class.
Yeah.
You didn't add in the classes to the chart.
So like the entire data, right?
It's all of the classes and all of the total payments that you're creating in the chart. Khadija, we're running out of time. The classes and total, not just classes alone. Durrani, read back to her the remember part so that she'll know how to select her data.
Remember to select non-contiguous data. Select the first column of text data, then hold the Control key while selecting the next column of data.
Very good. So when you want to select data that are not next to each other or non-adjacent, you use Control key. Good. Continue quickly.
Format the chart to include access titles. Name, Name the horizontal axis as language. Okay, got it. And name the vertical axis as total cost. Name the main title as total cost for each language class. Move the chart to a new sheet and then save the spreadsheet.
Good. So that's it. Thank you guys. All right. So we have 10 more minutes. What we're going to be doing with that 10 more minutes is looking at your SBA. Can you guys tell me if you understand your SBA? Is it confusing? Is it simple? How do you feel about it?
So this is a trick question.
No, it's a genuine question because I don't know if you guys are learning anything from the SBA. That's what I'm trying to find out now.
Well, yes, sir. I think I learned a lot from the SB and doing it past couple weeks.
Anybody else? Found it difficult? Found it simple? Anyone want to share their?
Sir, please repeat.
How do you feel about the SBA that you've done so far? Is it easy? Is it simple? Can you handle it? How do you feel? Anyone?
Yes, sir. It's all right.
Uh, what I'm trying to find out, is it too difficult for you guys? Are you guys having a hard time with it?
Not really, sir.
All right. So what I'm gonna do, you guys can see my screen. I don't think so. I'm not presenting. Yeah, you should be. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just gonna give you guys a brief overview of the SBA. Not the formulas, but trying to understand the SBA. Like why are we doing this SBA and so on. So as I mentioned, the first thing, this is the layout of your first sheet. You have the main table. Your 14% over here is in another table. You're gonna leave an entire column of space in because this VAT 40% is not a part of the main table. Um, and then the advanced filter is going to be below that. For the table, same thing again. You have your main table and then your summary table is below that to the bottom. your graphs and your charts. You have your pivot table in the top left corner. Then you can have a chart outside here to the right. If you want to put your other chart to the right here, no problem. Or if you want to put all below, that's up to you. But you just have the pivot table in this corner here, and then you place your other charts. Now, what I wanted to talk about is the requirements. So the first requirement is for you to create an item ID with 5 characters and 4 digits. The reason behind this is because companies today, this is how they would represent their items in their database. Their database is a software that they're going to use to store the information of all their items. And instead of representing the item by a name, they would use an ID. And the ID, it all depends on the company and how they want to structure their ID. So this is one example of creating an ID. In our case, we are using a letter and 4 digits after that. So that is why we have this item ID column in our item table to basically identify your items. Later on, when we start doing database, then you're going to see how necessary this item ID actually is. The next one is to record total items and the cost price. Now, there's different ways in order for you to calculate markup, to calculate selling price, and so on. But when it comes to creating the SBA, CXC wants us to basically give you guys a requirement. So in this case, that is why for the markup, we told you to do this for the markup. Yes, you can calculate your markup by using cost price and selling price, but we need to set a standard requirement in order for you to carry out your SBA, in order for us to test you to see if you understand spreadsheet. So it's not a case whereby getting to the answer is the main goal. It's actually if you know how to create functions and formulas, if you know how to use the parts of the features of spreadsheet. That is what CXC wants to test from you. That's what we are learning. So that is why for the requirements, we give you requirements for each column. So for the markup, we told you to look at the cost price and run a test on it. So in this case, you're gonna run a test. If it is less than equal to 5,000, then you're gonna have 20% markup. Then if that test fails or if it is false, then it's gonna go over to the other test. Is it less than or equal to 10,000? Then it will give you 15%. Else, meaning if the test fails again, then you will get 10%. So if I change this cost price here, if you guys look at the spreadsheet, it's 1,500 here. If it is below 5,000, so I will get 20%. If I change it to 7,000, which means it is no longer below 5,000, it's now going to be below 10,000, then I'll get 15%. She didn't do the this one is wrong. Else, so anything above the 10,000 now is going to be 10%. So that's how this markup here is supposed to work. Based on whatever cost price there is, you have a certain markup. The reason why this would have also been chosen is because it helps to lessen the amount of decision making you have to do. So now as a business owner, you could think that within this certain range, I want this amount of percentage of markup. It's like if you're actually running a business and you could implement this in your future business. So if you know you bought items $5,000 and less, then you're going to decide that you want to add a 20% markup on all of those items, regardless of what it is. But if it is above 5,000, then you're going to decide that anything above 5,000 and below 10,000 that you would have bought, then it's going to have a markup of 50%. So in this way now, by having this kind of setup, whatever cost price you put in, you will get a markup based on what you would have decided. So it helps to lessen the amount of work in terms of creating markup for your business. Now, the selling price requirement, it's a simple formula to calculate your selling price. It's your cost price plus your markup. Now remember, we can't add a percentage. We have to calculate that percentage first. So in this case, you have to calculate your markup and then you'll add it to your cost price. Now your discount is the same thing like your markup. As a business owner, instead of you constantly thinking that, oh, this item should get 5%, that item should get 10%, this other item should get 15%, you think of a range of prices also. And this is the pattern we followed also, that a certain price range of items will have a certain percentage of discount. So in our test, anything above 30,000 is going to have 5% discount. Anything from 10,000 to 30,000 is going to have 3% discount. And anything below 10,000 will have
You're breaking up.
0% discount. So the test is just for you to check your cost price like an actual business would do, and to look at the range of prices once again, just like your markup, and give you a value, a discount percentage. So in this case also, it helps to reduce the amount of thinking on your part, because if you set it in the spreadsheet that this range has this percentage, then that is what will appear for your item. Now for the VAT, it's just a simple test also. If the VAT eligibility is equal to yes, then it will calculate the VAT. Now notice I have selling price times VAT. So, and then I have named the range of VAT 40%. So that means you are supposed to reference this 40% here, this VAT that you would have created outside of your table. So you're going to name this 40% VAT and you reference it inside of your calculation. So that is why basically for the formula, I have here the VAT, you're calculating it by multiplying selling price and VAT. But once again, well, yeah, this will calculate your VAT. So the purpose of this test here is now for you to have an easy means of calculating your VAT, so that if the item is eligible for VAT, it would easily calculate it. So if I change this yes to no, say for example, you're running the business, the government made a change, the government says that this item no longer has VAT, then you simply change it to no. And now the item no longer has any VAT. It's that simple. If the government changes its mind once again, this item has VAT, You just change it to a yes, and the VAT is easily calculated. So that's the reason for that VAT formula. The net price, it's a simple calculation, selling price minus discount plus your VAT. Well, as I mentioned, there's different ways you could do calculations for net price, for selling price, and so on. But we need a standard in order to test you guys on. So our standard is going to be selling price, you subtract your discount, and you add all of your VAT. Remember, discount is a percentage, and you can't just subtract a percentage just like that. You need to calculate it before you subtract a percentage. What is the actual value that you are subtracting? Now, to get your profit, as I mentioned once again, there's different ways to calculate a profit. Our standard is going to be net price minus all expenses. In bracket, there should have been overhead also. So basically, all expenses, all overheads, you are minusing it from your net price, and that will give you your profit for the item. You're sorting, and then you're naming the sheet, and then you are doing an advanced filter, and so on. Now, briefly, order ID is the same like the item ID as I discussed. We're looking at a 1 month, first name, last name. Now, item ID is using link cell feature. Why are we using link cell feature? Because it makes a spreadsheet less prone to error, or there's less possibility for there being an error. So the less you are typing in your spreadsheet, it means the less cases for there being an error. So in all of these cases here, if you were to type all of these item ID, you might actually mistype one of the ID. So instead of you falling into that situation, by using the link cell, whatever is inside of this table here will be inside of this table here. So it's just a case now where you have to ensure that it is accurate in one location and it will be accurate in the rest of locations also. So that is why we are using the link cell feature. Now, lastly, the link cell feature is similar to all of these columns that I have in italics here. The item, the unit price, the discount, the VAT, and the profits. The reason why we are using VLOOKUP is similar to the link cell. It is already inside of the items table. Your item name is already here. Your unit price, your discount, your VAT, your profit, it is all inside of this table. And it doesn't make sense for you to type it back into another table and then you might end up typing it incorrectly. So by making use of a function that can pull the values from this table over into the orders table, you make your spreadsheet less prone to errors. So that is why item, unit price, discount, and VAT, you are pulling all of that from the items table. Unit price, you're pulling over the name, the unit price for the item, the discount. Now note the discount when you are pulling it over in the item table, it is a percentage. So that means in the orders table, we can't have it as a percentage because we need to do calculations with it. So when you pull it over, you need to calculate it. So that is why in this requirement here, we are stating that you need to calculate it based on the quantity of items sold. So remember, in the item sheet, all of these values are for one item. In the order sheet now, you have a quantities column and you have multiple items that are being sold. So you have to carry out your calculations for all of those items sold. So you have to, if 10 items are sold, you have to calculate the discount for all 10 items. If 10 items are sold, you have to calculate the VAT for all 10 items. If profit is sold, the profit for all 10 items. So you have to accommodate for all of those items for amount, discount, profit, and so on. Now this last table here is just for you to put in functions. You should know these common functions by now. How to count, how to get your total, average, and so on. Today we looked at pivot table. Well, last week we looked at pivot table. How to create that. You're just using item, total, and profit. There's no specific reason behind what we chose for this here, but it's just that you needed to create them. Oh, some persons were asking about these requirements here. These requirements are for your entire spreadsheet. So you're going to ensure all money has 2 decimal places. All percentages, including this 40% here, has 1 decimal place. You're going to center all of your secondary headings. You're going to use these font size and font. The general heading is going to be 18. You're going to bold it. Secondary heading is going to be 14. You're going to bold that. And then your data is going to be size 12. So your general heading is going to be the heading that's above your table, item services. Your secondary heading is going to be the title for each column. And the data is what you have in your table. And then you're going to add your borders. You're going to format. If you want to add colors and shadings, that is up to you. So that's just a brief overview of the requirements for your spreadsheet. I hope you guys have a better understanding now of the reasons for some of these requirements in your spreadsheet. And I hope you have a better understanding as to how you are carrying out these exercises, these requirements.